Now, you know I like to keep it real. Let's talk. Let's talk about something that people really don't like to admit a lot of times, an unhealthy marriage. Everybody wants the wedding, but nobody wants to talk about what happens after the wedding. An unhappy marriage is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's two people living in the same house sometimes not, but emotionally miles apart. No real conversation, no real connection, just routine and silence. Sometimes it looks like this. You feel alone, even though you're not by yourself. You stop sharing your thoughts because you already know they won't be heard. You start shrinking just to keep the peace. And little by little, you lose yourself. Now let's go deeper. An unhealthy marriage can also be controlled. One person dominating the other. Dominating the other one constantly, and the other one is adjusting, walking on eggshells, watching what you say, thinking twice before you even breathe. That's not love, y'all. That's not love. That's pressure. And then there's the kind where respect is gone. They say anything to each other. The words get sharp. The tone gets cold. And what used to feel safe now feels heavy. Let me say something real. Love is not supposed to feel like a burden every single day. Yes, marriage takes work. Yes, it takes patience. But it should not take your peace. It should not take your identity. It should not take your joy. And if you find yourself constantly drained, constantly anxious, constantly feeling like you're not enough, you're not even good enough, that's not something to ignore. That's something to pay attention to. Because a healthy marriage builds you. It doesn't slowly break you down day by day. And sometimes the hardest truth is to accept this. Just because you're married doesn't mean you're in something healthy. And recognizing that is important. That's the first step towards change. Should I continue? Okay. An unhealthy marriage needs work because everybody celebrates the wedding day, but very few people tell the truth about what happens after the vows are spoken. An unhealthy marriage is not always loud. It's not always fighting and yelling or doors slamming. Sometimes it's quiet. Too quiet. It's two people laying in the same bed but feeling completely alone, on their cell phones, talking to other people. It's waking up next to someone and still feeling unseen. No real conversations. No emotional connection. Just going through the motions day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. And from the outside, it can look perfectly fine. Smiles in public, pictures posted, everything is good. But behind closed doors, something is missing. Let's go deeper. An unhealthy marriage will slowly start to change you. You don't laugh the same anymore. You don't speak as freely anymore. You don't even think the same about yourself anymore. You begin to question who you are. You start holding things in because every time you try to express yourself, it express yourself before you were dismissed, ignored, or made to feel like you were the problem. So now you say you say nothing, you be quiet. Not because you don't have anything to say. Oh, you have plenty to say, but because you're tired of not being heard. And that silence, it becomes heavy. Now let's talk about control. Because control doesn't always look like aggressive. Sometimes it's subtle. It's needing permission to be simple, to do simple things. It's being questioned constantly. It's feeling like you have to explain yourself all the time. It's walking on eggshells, trying not to trigger an argument, trying not to set them off all the time. That's not love. That's pressure. That's fear, wearing the mask of a relationship. And then there's emotional neglect. No affection, no support, no reassurance. You're going through life, carrying everything. And the one person who was supposed to stand with you feels distant, unreachable, almost like they're there, but not really there. And let me say this apart clearly. Just because someone is physically present does not mean they are emotionally available. Now let's talk about respect. Because once respect starts to fade, everything else follows. The tone changes. The words get deeper. The patience disappear. And instead of feeling safe, you feel tense. Instead of feeling valued, you feel small. Instead of feeling loved, you feel tolerated. And that does something to a person over time. It wears you down. Little by little, it wears you down until one day you wake up and realize you don't even recognize yourself anymore. You don't even know who you are now. Hear me when I say this. Marriage is work. Yes, it takes effort. It takes communication. It takes growth. But it should not cost you your peace every single day. It should not strip you of your identity. It should not make you feel like you have to disappear just to keep things functioning. That is not the kind of union that builds. That is the kind of the union that slowly breaks, and a lot of people stay. Not because they are happy, but because they're used to it. Because they're afraid to stay over. They're afraid to start over because they don't want to be alone. Because they've invested so much time. Because they keep hoping and hoping and hoping that things will go back to how they used to be. But hope without change will keep you stuck. And here's a hard truth. Just because you're married doesn't mean you're in something healthy. And just because you've been in it for years doesn't mean it's right. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is tell themselves the truth. Not the version they've been trying to hold on to, but the reality that they've been feeling deep down. Because once you acknowledge it, that something isn't right, that something is missing, that something is hurting you, that's where change begins. Whether that change is communication, boundaries, counseling, or something even bigger, it starts within honesty. And you owe yourself that, because a healthy marriage, it builds you. It builds you. It strengthens you. It gives you peace, not constant confusion. And if that's not what you're experiencing, then it's time to stop pretending and start paying attention. This is blessing you. If this is blessing you, my Cash App is $ Carol B. Tompkins, Tompkins. Talk to you later on the next video.